Hey everyone, and welcome back to our debt recovery CRM series. And in this video, which will be a little bit longer of a video than the last two we just did, we'll be talking about setting up your automations and your workflow automations. So the first thing you want to do here is before we start getting into setting them up is you really want to think about what's going to be included in the automation. Okay, so you want to think about what activities need to happen and when, and you want to think about what the trigger is going to be. So is the trigger going to be when one of the deals move from one stage to the next? Is it going to be an activity has been completed? So I completed an activity, and I now that I need to set up a task to follow up with that activity within a certain time period and provide some notes and information on that. Or do I want it to be when somebody fills something out? So maybe a form is filled out that drives an activity, okay, an automation. Or it could be when an email comes in, okay? So if somebody sends you an email or if there's an update. One of the easiest ways to do automations, in my opinion, and what I really like to do, is I like to set labels for things on customers. So for example, if you come into contacts here and you see here, there's no labels for any of these people, okay? It's all blank. So what I can do here is, let's say Sandu is a customer, okay? So that's the label. So I could put in a label called debt recovery. So now that person is defaulted on a payment and the label is debt recovery for that person. Or the person, I've completed all of the process, okay, of all the steps and all the stages to try to collect on the debt recovery nicely. I now have to move to taking legal action. Then all I would do is move it to legal debt recovery. And it's this change, right? That you change in the label will automatically set up all of the automations for you and tasks that need to happen. So for example, I could set it up so that Sandu Tandeep, okay, if I change the legal debt recovery label from blank to this, or from customer to this, or from debt recovery to this, I can set up a deal. So I can automatically move that deal by changing the label, okay? It can automatically create all the tasks that I need to do within the first, say, 3 to 4 to 5 days. Okay, and then from there, I can create all the automations step by step on what I need them to do. So let's actually do that. Let me show you how to do that right now in workflows. So all I'm going to do is to create a new workflow based on changing that label. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to click on the 3 dots. I'm going to click on workflow automations. Okay, so what Pipedrive does is they're really good at thinking of all the different automations for you, and they build all of these templates, which really make it easy. And I'm not going to go through every one of these with you. You can do it yourself, but I'll just give you a quick overview. So you have templates for creating activities, so you can see all the different types of templates that are already kind of pre-built for you. It also tells you the time it takes, right? So by every time a deal is added to a certain stage, create an activity and send an email. That saves sometimes about 60 minutes because you've got an email template already created. You don't have to worry about someone typing it up. It creates all the activities that you need to do in creating the stage, which takes time for someone to enter in and do all the data entry to make that happen. So having an automation to do all that will save you about 60 minutes. So it's kind of cool that on average, Pipedrive shows you that, and then you can visualize, well, if you had that times 100 a month, that's 60 minutes times 100. Here's one that I talked about before. So every time a lead label is updated, create an activity and send an email. So remember, when the person has defaulted, you need to send an email out. Well, if I change the label, okay, so just switch this to every time a lead label is updated, create an activity and send an email, I could easily just come in here, click on this template that's already pre-built for me. So yeah, and then you can send emails. There's 12 templates for there, adding deals to deal stages, moving deal stages from one stage to the next. You could even send Slack messages or send to Microsoft Teams or add a product Every time a deal is added, add a product to that deal, right? So if you want to label you have certain products and you want to add those products to the actual deal that was included in the invoice, you could do that. You could also add the documents as well, which is really cool. All right, so like I said, I'm going to show you how to do that custom label change. So let's go into this one right here. Okay, so let's see here, debt recovery deal. When account label changes, okay, to debt recovery, add a deal. Okay, so let's have a quick look at this. So again, remember I talked to you about the trigger. You want to make sure you understand what the trigger is. So the trigger in this case is going to be a person has been updated, and what's been updated is the label. So the label has changed. What did the label change to? The label is changed to debt recovery. So that's going to trigger this event. Okay, so what's the action that's going to happen? Create a deal. Okay, so if we click in here and we edit, create the deal, you can see here's the linked person, there's the linked organization. Okay, so I have the organization that's attached to the person. I have the title of the deal, and that's going to be the person's organization's name, but you can make this the person if you want, or you could have any label that you want, but I like to use the company name, the organization name, because then it's pretty clear on the default it is with what company. And then here you choose the pipeline stage, and in this case, you know, we're talking about debt recovery, so we want it to be the default payment is the one that's selected. And the owner of this, I want it to be this guy Graham, okay, or whoever. And then all you have to do is hit apply, okay? So we apply those changes, and then the deal is created. But hey, remember, I also want to add those additional activities. I know that I need to send an email, right? So I want to create an activity that I want to send a custom email. Now, in this case here, I want to manually do it. So maybe I don't want to automate the email response. I want to quickly audit the account and personalize the email to each client in each stage, no problem. Or if you just want to create a blanket template that just goes out to everybody, you can do that too, okay? So to do that, to create the activity, all you do is, again, you know, you're gonna think about what the activity subject needs to be, what the name of it needs to be. And again, that's where I said, you know, make sure you have very clear naming conventions. And then here's the type. So remember I created all of those activities back in the beginning? Well, I can see them all now. Here they are, right? Remember, here's add customer to debt recovery. This one here is send email reminder. Okay, so I'm going to click on send email reminder. I can choose the time zone I want to work in. Okay, I can choose who it's assigned to. That's Grant. I can choose the deal it's linked to. Okay, and the organization and the people. All the information related to that account is here, right? The person, the organization, the deal, etc. Okay, and that's not all, okay? So I can also create another activity. What's the other activity? The follow-up to that email, right? So here I have, it's a call reminder. And again, there's the type. And the due date is due within 7 days. And we learned in previous videos that there's different timelines for each activity, right? And in this case, you know, you want to give the person a few days to read the email and respond. And in this case, before we'll do the follow-up call, it's going to be 7 days, okay? So that's the one I created for you there. And let me show you how to create this all on your own. And you can do it custom. So all you're going to do is you're going to come in. I'm going to add a custom workflow. And you don't need to use any of the templates that's there. So if we want to call this a debt recovery deal, we can just enter in debt recovery. We can add a description, and I do like to do that because it explains to me what's happening. Okay, so now we have the activity created, create a deal. If a default notification happens, then create a deal and add first activities. So let's do that together. So what's the trigger? The trigger is a person, and the person is updated. The person's information is updated, okay? So now we need to click on this little green box here to specify what those conditions might be. So in this case here, we're gonna say, just type in label and has changed, okay? And then we're gonna add a new condition and we're gonna say the label has changed too, right? So the label is now, right? So we can look at is, and here we can say debt recovery, right? And apply conditions, okay? So if the label has changed, and the label is debt recovery, then do this. So now we can figure out the action. Now remember, it's a deal, right? So we can do leads, deals, persons, organizations, activities, and emails based on the action. But here we're going to do deal, and we're just going to create a deal. And it's really easy to do, okay? So the deal title, all you have to do is enter in, I like to put organization name. So persons, so the company that is attached to the person. And then I'm going to click in to add more fields. Okay, so I'm going to click in linked person, the linked organization, the pipeline stage, because I want to be able to select that, the owner, and there's so much more you can do, but for now I'm just going to do that. Okay, so we have the person. Okay, you just come in and click the person, the organization. You can do it before the update or after the update. It's up to you. The stage is going to be, let's see, debt recovery default payment, and the owner is going to be Graham. Okay, and then hit apply. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So we've created the deal. It's ready to go. Now we want to add an additional action. And remember, we want to create an activity. And the activity we want to create is a new activity. And we want to, the subject of the activity is going to be send email reminder. Okay. And so you're going to so you can change the subject name up here, but the type of the activity that you actually created, you have to make sure you select that. So we're going to come down here and we're going to find send email reminder. Oh, remainder. I guess I spelled that incorrect. So we're going to send email reminder, and then we're going to come down here and select send email reminder. Okay. Maybe you want to do an SMS, so you can choose SMS. It's up to you. And then the due date for this is going to be the same day that it's created. However, we are going to skip weekends. And the activity, I want to choose the assigned to, so who it's assigned to, and the link deal and the organization. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to save some changes. And now I'm going to go assign to Graham. Remember, we want Graham to do that. The deal is the deal that's linked, and the organization before the update. Okay, so who the company is. Okay, so that automatically is going to pull that information in. So I'm going to hit apply. Okay, so that creates the send the email. So that's just a task to remind me to do it. This isn't actually sending an email out. This is creating an activity to tell Graham that, hey, you need to send an email reminder the day that this deal is created. Otherwise, it's going to show up as inactive in the pipeline, and it's going to turn red, and it'll notify the manager and you that this activity was not done. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new activity, and this is the follow-up. So we're going to create that activity by creating the activity. The subject is going to be call follow-up. If you want, call it whatever you want. But in this case, we're going to call it call follow-up, and then we're going to come over here. We're going to find call reminder. Oh, it's call reminder. So let me change that then. Reminder. Great. We want to have all the same naming conventions. And the due date here, we know it's going to be 7 days total, right? So day one, so dates, 5 to 6 days later. So in this case here, we're going to say in day 7. Okay, we're going to skip weekends. And we're going to create more activities. So we want the assigned to, the link deal, the organization, and the link people. And we're going to save that. And assigned to, again, is going to be Graham. The deal, it's automatically going to pull. The organization, I want that before the update. And the person, I want that before any updates either. So we're going to hit apply. Okay, so now we're done. That's it. So here we have person updated, trigger event, label has changed, label is debt recovery. We've created the deal. So automatically when that label changed, it's going to add a deal. It's going to also add the activities associated with that deal. So I'm not going to make this active because I've already created one. So I'm going to show you how it's going to work. So let's hit close. Okay, folks, so let's have a look at Williams David here. He's in the entertainment industry. He's purchased some stuff from us and hasn't paid, and we received the defaulted payment notification and email, and all we're going to do is change the label on this guy's account. Now, as you can see, there's no activities in here, 0. We don't have any deals. Okay, you can see add a new deal. The deals are blank. So let's go back. and we'll come back to David Williams here. And all we're going to do is change the label from no label to debt recovery. All right, we're going to wait a second. 2, 3, 4. All right, let's come over here. Whoa, magically now we see here's an open deal. Okay, and you've got the deals created. You have the 2 tasks already set up. There's one for today. So Graham needs to send that email reminder, and he needs to follow up on April 12th as a call reminder. And folks, that's as easy as that. You set up the automations. It's not too hard. It's just takes a little bit of thinking and pre-planning before you start building out the workflows, because once you build workflows, you have a lot of power, and you could cause a lot of people to have a lot of actions depending on the size of the account. So you really want to think this out before you create them. But like I said, it's not hard to do. And if you're managing a portfolio of accounts that you're trying to collect debt on, or you have in a legal debt recovery process, having automations will definitely enable you to save a lot of time. It'll help eliminate any deals that stay inactive for too long. So for example, if we come back to the pipeline, remember how I said you've got the ones that are red here. You can see this one, this company has been inactive. So if we look at the email reminder here, was supposed to be sent out on the same day. No email reminder happened, so that's why it's in red. And the activity is showing as overdue. If you see a gray activity, there's an activity coming up, but it's not overdue yet, right? So it does a really good job providing indicators. And if it shows up green, you can see this is there's an activity in here that's actually due today. And if it's got the yellow icon on here with the exclamation point, it basically is telling you that there is no activities attached to this deal, okay? So you can clearly see we can set up some quick automations, how it interacts with the deals that are in each one of the stages, and how it can definitely make it simple for you and your team to see which deals are in need of attention immediately, right? Like you see, this one's in pretty good shape because it just got sent in. It's got a activity coming up, but nothing serious or needed. There's no attention needed on this one here. Okay, so that's it, folks. That's how you set up your workflows for debt recovery, and hope you learned a lot. And we will be moving on to the next video where we're going to talk about how to set up your dashboards. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.